message.
The state of Minnesota is launching an investigation into the response of federal officers during the crackdown on illegal immigration. The state says it is already looking into 17 cases of possible misconduct, including an incident where Border Patrol officer Greg Ravino allegedly threw a smoke canister at protesters. The Department of Homeland Security continues to deny any wrongdoing. The Supreme Court has cleared the way for California schools to notify parents if children identify as transgender without student consent. The emergency ruling blocks a state law that protects student privacy on gender expression. The decision comes after parents challenged school policies, saying that they were misled about their children's social transitions.
Good Day Chicago at 5 starts now.
This morning on Good Day Chicago, airstrikes continue in the Middle East as the U.S. military updates the number of Americans killed. A Chicago woman charged with killing her boyfriend will look to get her case tossed out today. Now let's take a live look outside. Some areas are already waking up to some rain on this Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us for this 5 a.m. hour of Good Day Chicago. I'm Brian Jackson. We mentioned that rain in some areas this morning. Checking in with Caitlin, where exactly and who exactly is dealing with some of that rain so far today?
A strip of rain from Chicago points north. Northwest Indiana, northern Porter County, you have a touch of wet weather too. Behind me, you can see the radar loop where not only are we seeing green, but we're also seeing some shades of pink, which is what we indicated yesterday. Temperatures hovering around freezing for some. Northwest Indiana, you're seeing this in northern Porter County, portions of LaPorte County, where it could get slick out there. Also, I do want to point your attention to that light rain moving through Chicago, Evanston, all the way up into McHenry County. And then near Rockford, we're also seeing that pink shade where we could see some slick roads. So this is going to be very light rain over O'Hare. As mentioned, moving into portions of McHenry County, Crystal Lake, you have some drizzle possible this morning. And looking at the temperatures, we're hovering at or above freezing in most spots. So it is 35 degrees at O'Hare, 34 at the lakefront, 33 in Waukegan, and freezing at Woodstock. Temperatures today in the 40s. Temperatures are warming up, though, to the 60s. I'll tell you when ahead.
All right, time now 5:02. Taking a look at your traffic so far this morning. Nothing but green. Everything looking pretty good for you. Kennedy O'Hare to downtown. It'll take you 25 minutes. Stevenson I-55 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Looking at your normal 21-minute commutes. And if you're coming from the south side or south suburbs into downtown, Dan Ryan 95th to downtown. Looking at 18 minutes so far this Tuesday morning. Well, today, Congress will get an update from the Trump administration on the ongoing strikes in Iran. The U.S. military says so far 6 Americans have been killed. Ted Linder has the latest on the ongoing tensions in the Middle East.
Israeli forces launching new strikes early Tuesday on Hezbollah command centers and weapons storage units in Lebanon. The blasts rocking Beirut come after similar strikes from Monday. Israel's been responding to a recent retaliatory attack from Hezbollah militants over the death of Iran's supreme leader.
Air Force fighter jets have been flying over Lebanese skies and powerfully attacking dozens of Hezbollah terrorist organization targets.
Israeli warplanes hit targets in southern Beirut Monday. A targeted attack was also carried out on senior Hezbollah members.
Dozens of Air Force fighter jets guided by intelligence dropped more than 250 munitions on targets of the Iranian terror regime in the heart of Tehran.
It comes as U.S. and Israeli forces also continue striking targets across Iran, with Iranian forces responding.
The tyrants of Tehran target civilians. We target the tyrants of Tehran to protect civilians.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday visited a site outside of Jerusalem that was previously hit by an Iranian missile, killing at least 9. Loved ones grieving their losses buried 3 young siblings killed in that attack. With no clear end to the ongoing conflict in sight, many Israelis continue gathering in bomb shelters. Those inside are trying to stay positive under the circumstances.
Biblical in proportions, what's happening right now, and doing the little bit that we can, just staying calm, staying joyful.
Ted Linder, Fox News.
The protests over the strikes on Iran continue here in Chicago. About 100 anti-war protesters gathered yesterday at Michigan Avenue in Ida B. Wells. They call the president's order reckless and say that they're the voices of the majority of Americans who oppose war, as well as the U.S. involvement in the Middle East.
to use our collective power and break the cycle of forever wars that have already claimed over 500 lives in Iran, including over 80 school children.
We are here today because we oppose the illegitimate war on Iran. And we represent the majority of this country who do.
Today, we must say enough is enough, and we must condemn every single member of Congress and the Senate that is silent and therefore complicit with this illegal and illegitimate war.
The group threatened to shut down Chicago streets, but the protests remained peaceful. Dozens of Chicago police were there on bikes to keep the public safe. The group says that they will mobilize again this Friday. The search for a man who was last seen at O'Hare Airport continues this morning. We're now hearing from his family. 23-year-old Elijah Joseph Horde was last seen at O'Hare on Friday. His family says he was visiting family here in Chicago and then heading back home to France, but he never checked his bag or boarded his flight. He went through security and was waiting at his departure gate. Video last shows him leaving Terminal 5 and heading toward another terminal. Elijah's family says that he suffers from schizophrenia and cannot be without his medication.
If he doesn't take his medication, I fear that he might get too low in terms of like his mood, and that might be a scary place for him to be, especially being alone and not necessarily knowing anyone in Chicago to contact when that occurs. So that's my only concern is like I really hope his mind is right and he's not just completely losing it.
If you have any information on where Elijah could be, please call police. Attorneys for a Chicago woman who is accused of killing her boyfriend will look to have her case dropped. Keisha Golden will be in court today. Back in 2022, Golden, who was pregnant at the time, stabbed her then boyfriend Calvin Sidney during an argument that turned violent. He died from his injuries. Her lawyers say that she acted in self-defense. The man accused of murdering a pregnant woman in Downers Grove will be in court today for his arraignment. Natus Revukis is accused of stabbing 30-year-old Eliza Morales and then setting her on fire. She was 5 months pregnant. This all stemmed from a sale on Facebook Marketplace. He faces first-degree murder charges, among other felonies. Well, South Carolina is honoring the late civil rights activist Reverend Jesse Jackson, who was born and raised in the state. His casket arrived by horse-drawn carriage to the State House yesterday. Jackson will lie in the state in the rotunda as the public gathers to pay their respects. A memorial tribute happened at the Brooklyn Baptist Church earlier in the day.
And what the governor has done in granting this honor has not only added greater solemnity to the memory of Reverend Jesse Jackson, but it has also reinvigorated the hope that maybe, just maybe, integrity is not dead in the United States of America.
Reverend Jackson will return to Chicago for services on Friday and Saturday. Well, Chicago is the front runner to host the 2028 Democratic National Convention. The Democratic National Committee says that Atlanta, Boston, Denver, and Philadelphia are also under consideration. Chicago hosted the last convention in 2024. It was the first time the DNC was held in Chicago since 1996. In DuPage County, officials are working to debunk any fears that ICE could interfere with this election. The county clerk says any interference by ICE or federal agents will not be tolerated. She says any interference is punishable by up to 5 years in prison.
They have concerns that there's an ICE presence. I was told that it never really left from the fall, and it's going to be ramping up again this month. We want to warn ICE to stay away, and they just really have no chance of success here, so just stay away.
The clerk's office is also launching a dedicated hotline for residents to report any ICE presence at polling places. Well, a groundbreaking will be held today for the new Chicago Fire Stadium. The $750 million stadium is privately funded. It will be located on a site known as the 78. The goal is for the new stadium to open in 2028. And time now 5:09 this morning. Checking in with Caitlin. We're going to talk about the eclipse known as the blood moon. Is it clear enough to even see that right now?
We do have cloudy skies, but The chance for rain is starting to dwindle here in the city. You can see behind me radar indicating that we do have that mixed precipitation in Michigan City to LaPorte. In the city, nice and dry, but that rain is moving through northern Cook County, O'Hare to Palatine to Crystal Lake. So I would be surprised if you could see it because it is so cloudy outside. We are going to be fighting with these clouds throughout the day today, and that best chance for rain is going to be ending here later this morning. Temperatures are ranging in the 30s. Right now it's 33 degrees in Waukegan, freezing at Woodstock, 34 in DeKalb, and 34 at the lakefront, 36 in Gary. I see temperatures near freezing, if not just below, from Valpo to Michigan City. So that's where we have seen the coldest temperatures and that potential for that freezing on the ground so far this morning, that mixed precipitation. Here's your futurecast. Let's take you through your day. So again, the clouds are in place and temperatures pushing to the low 40s. There is a chance for rain even later on this afternoon, especially south of the city and especially south of I-80. This is 4:15 with that wet weather coming down. Heading on into this evening, 7 o'clock, and we are seeing temperatures still in the upper 30s to low 40s and that potential for a few showers out there. As we get on into your Wednesday in the afternoon, we have the chance for rain returning, and you can see temperatures are not budging too much, dropping into the 30s tonight and returning to the 40s tomorrow afternoon. We do have the potential for rain and thunderstorms even on Thursday and on Friday, but the temperatures will be back to the 60s. Your full 7-day forecast is ahead.
Well, Congress will be briefed today on the strikes in Iran. I'm speaking with political analyst Doug Luzader about the reaction this morning in Washington. Now on Good Day Chicago, airstrikes in the Middle East are entering day number 4. Iran struck the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia's capital, causing some minor damage. Americans have been urged to avoid the compound. President Trump now says that this campaign could last more than a month. U.S. military confirms at least 6 service members have died. State media in Iran says the death toll is nearly 800 amid U.S. and Israeli strikes. Attorneys for Keisha Golden look to have her case dropped. Back in 2022, Golden, who was pregnant at the time, stabbed her boyfriend, Calvin Sidney, during an argument that turned violent. Her lawyers say that she acted in self-defense. And a groundbreaking will be held today for the new Chicago Fire Stadium. These are some of the renderings of the stadium. The $750 million stadium is privately funded. It will be located on the site now known as the 78. The goal is for the stadium to open in 2028. Police in Austin, Texas say a third victim has died following the mass shooting over the weekend. The department says that he was one of the 14 victims previously in critical condition at the hospital following that attack. The gunman opened fire on people outside of a bar early Sunday morning. The FBI says it is now investigating the incident as a potential act of terrorism. The gunman allegedly wore a shirt displaying the Iranian flag and a sweatshirt with the words "Property of Allah" during the attack. More than a month after the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, investigators say that they're still searching for answers. Savannah Guthrie and relatives were seen leaving flowers yesterday at a makeshift memorial outside of her mother's home in Tucson. Police believe that the 84-year-old was abducted. Despite multiple leads, including ring camera images showing a person outside her home, so far no suspects have been identified. The Guthrie family is offering a $1 million reward for any information. Well, the U.S. and Israel pound targets in Iran overnight. President Trump has laid out his objectives for the war, but now is facing some more pushback from Democrats in Congress. Doug Luzader is joining us live from Washington this morning. So, Doug, Iran fired back overnight, hitting the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia's capital. What is the State Department doing to keep Americans in the Middle East safe?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've had a couple of embassy attacks, apparently. You mentioned the Saudi one where there were a couple of drones that apparently hit. There was also an attack, apparently, on the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait. That embassy has since closed down. So, yeah, there's a concern from the State Department here, and they're trying to get a lot of personnel out of the region, telling Americans to certainly be on guard. You know, at any given time, you have a lot of Americans that are there in the Middle East, in that entire region. And as we've seen with Iran firing at a number of different countries, that this isn't just limited to Iran. I mean, we've had Israel going after targets in Lebanon, for instance, and we've had Iran firing at nearby countries. So this is something that is beginning to embroil the region. We don't know how long, of course, this is going to last, though.
And President Trump says that so far this operation has exceeded his expectations. What do you think that the president meant by that?
Well, he said that it had to do with the timeline, that, you know, this is something that moved more quickly than he anticipated in terms of taking out leadership, that those initial strikes went pretty deep into Iranian leadership ranks, and that made things a little bit easier. But they're still going through the process of going after missile sites, going after drone bases, the sites of nuclear enrichment. Those seem to be the three main areas that they're after here. And then, of course, we're waiting for this briefing today for members of Congress from administration officials, the same ones that briefed congressional leaders yesterday.
And speaking of Congress, Doug, do you think that they're taking any plans to maybe try to limit President Trump's authority?
Yeah, and we've talked about this. That's already kind of on the schedule. The effort to pass a War Powers Resolution, or War Powers Act, probably tomorrow, maybe. If this does pass, the president would almost certainly veto it. So it's more of kind of a symbolic vote, but it does show that just about every Democrat is aligned against the president on this.
All right, that is our Doug Luzader reporting live from Washington this morning as the conflict continues in Iran. Thanks again, Doug.
Thank you.
Back here at home, time is now 5:19. This time yesterday, Caitlin, looks like people were waking up to temperatures in the 20s. At least it's a little warmer this Tuesday.
Yeah, it's quite mild. We do have the cloudy sky, so that's the trade-off, right? You start off with clouds. It's not going to be quite as chilly as it would be if we had a clear sky overnight. But we do have the touch of precipitation. The pavement is wet downtown. A little bit of light rain north of the city now, but temperatures are in the mid-30s, which is where I want to start because that's a good thing. That means that we're not expecting icy conditions from the lakefront to O'Hare to Midway. Northwest Indiana, you are sitting at 36 degrees in Gary, 33 in Waukegan, freezing at Woodstock. That's where temperatures are hovering around freezing. freezing is going to be as you get close to the Wisconsin border. Southwestern areas, you are in the upper 30s. Here's our futurecast. So let's take a look at your day today. Holding on to the cloud cover. So we have that chance for some light precipitation over the next few hours. Then, as we work our way to midday, we are going to have the clouds in place still, but the chance for rain is creeping in from the south. This is 3:30. The best chance for rain this afternoon is going to be south of Chicago and really mostly south of I-80. We could even have a few rumbles of thunder. As we head on into this evening and tonight, it is going to be quiet. Temperatures aren't budging too much. We're staying in the 30s tonight, and then tomorrow temperatures will be back to the 40s. There is a chance for some scattered shower activity again tomorrow. You can see in the afternoon. This is 5:15 on your Wednesday, and we do have some scattered wet weather, but the chance for rain, I mentioned it yesterday, it's going to be on and off all the way through the end of the week, and even pushing into the weekend, we're going to have rounds of rain possible. Temperatures, though, they're looking good. We are going to be right around 46 degrees on Thursday, Friday 64, and then this weekend holding on to the low 60s. Heading into early next week, we're starting off Monday with 61 degrees, finally going to be drying out Sunday and Monday. In the meantime, today, again, this morning, we have the chance for some light precipitation around, and then this afternoon, especially south of the city. Brian.
NIPSCO is now offering some relief to utility customers who are facing high winter bills. We'll explain.
Your local Infinity retailer.
Time now 5:24. Taking a live look outside. Temperatures a little bit milder today compared to Monday, with some areas even waking up to some rain. But NIPSCO is now offering support to customers facing some high utility prices. The company is waiving late fees and reconnection fees, also pausing service disconnections due to non-payments and reducing reconnection deposits. Those measures will be in place through the end of the month. NIPSCO says it also offers payment plans, budget billing, and income-eligible assistance programs year-round. Our jury selection is underway in an antitrust showdown, the U.S. versus Live Nation and Ticketmaster. The government is joined by dozens of states accusing them of illegally dominating the live music business. Prosecutors argue that Live Nation's massive ownership or management of concert venues allows the company to pressure venues to use Ticketmaster, limiting competition and increasing ticket prices.
I do think that the Live Nation is facing an uphill battle. Ticketmaster controls something between 80 to 86% of the ticket sales in large venues. That's also unchallenged. So you have significant power.
Live Nation strongly disputes these accusations, saying venues choose its ticketing services because it's the best and most efficient option. All right, time now 5:25. Thinking of those summer concerts, but we're a long way away from summer this morning, Caitlin. It's not that bad, though, compared to what it's been like the last couple of weeks.
It could be worse. It could be worse. And we have the 60s on our 7-day forecast, so that's something to look forward to if you like the heat, which I think we all miss it. But this morning, we have clouds in place. We also have some scattered light precipitation. And with that, temperatures are hovering in the mid to upper 30s for most, but we are seeing a few locations hovering around freezing. So let's talk about our radar first, where we have some light rain as mentioned. This is going to be north of downtown over Evanston. You have some sprinkles. By the way, if you're walking around downtown, you might see the pavement is wet. Taking a closer look, we do have a touch of pink near Michigan City. So northern LaPorte County, you could be seeing some mixed precipitation. Also McHenry County near Harvard, some pink. That's where temperatures are actually going to be hovering around freezing. So watch out for some slick spots, especially in McHenry County as this precipitation falls. Could be icy in a few spots. Temperatures are right at 33 degrees in Waukegan, as well as at Woodstock, 34 at the lakefront, 36 in Gary and in Kankakee, 37 at LaSalle. Highs today are going to be in the 40s. I do expect 43 degrees this afternoon at O'Hare. Temperatures hovering around 40 degrees at the lakefront. And there is a chance for rain later on today, especially south of the city. I'm talking about southernmost part of LaSalle County, Kankakee County, south of I-80 for the most part. Temperatures tonight are going to be ranging in the 30s, around 35 degrees at the lake. 33 at O'Hare. And then tomorrow we're back to the 40s. We have the chance for afternoon showers tomorrow. 45 expected to be our high. So let's take a look now at our futurecast, where again later on this morning we even here of green. This is 9:15, showing some scattered light rain. And then as we head on into the mid-afternoon, 3:30, we have that potential for rain returning, as mentioned, especially south of I-80. That chance for rain on and off over the next few days on into the beginning of the weekend. I'll show you that on your full forecast ahead. Brian.
All right, time now 5:27 this Tuesday morning. Stick around. We got more news, weather, and traffic on the way. Time now 5:30 on this Tuesday morning. Now on Good Day Chicago. Airstrikes continue in the Middle East as the U.S. military updates the number of Americans killed. A Chicago woman charged with killing her boyfriend will look to get her case tossed out today. And could the Democratic National Convention be returning to Chicago? The National Committee is now saying. Caitlin?
We're in the 30s this morning. We have cloudy skies returning for your Tuesday. The chance for scattered showers around this morning and then again this afternoon. I'll show you where the best chance for rain will be ahead.
Well, today Congress will get an update from the Trump administration on the ongoing strikes in Iran. The U.S. military says 6 Americans have been killed. Ted Linder has the latest on the ongoing tensions in the Middle East.
Israeli forces launching new strikes early Tuesday on Hezbollah command centers and weapons storage units in Lebanon. The blasts rocking Beirut come after similar strikes from Monday. Israel's been responding to a recent retaliatory attack from Hezbollah militants over the death of Iran's supreme leader.
Air Force fighter jets have been flying over Lebanese skies and powerfully attacking dozens of Hezbollah terrorist organization targets.
Israeli warplanes hit targets in southern Beirut Monday. A targeted attack was also carried out on senior Hezbollah members.
Dozens of Air Force fighter jets guided by intelligence dropped more than 250 munitions on targets of the Iranian terror regime in the heart of Tehran.
It comes as U.S. and Israeli forces also continue striking targets across Iran, with Iranian forces responding.
The tyrants of Tehran target civilians. We target the tyrants of Tehran to protect civilians.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday visited a site outside of Jerusalem that was previously hit by an Iranian missile, killing at least 9. Loved ones grieving their losses buried 3 young siblings killed in that attack. With no clear end to the ongoing conflict in sight, many Israelis continue gathering in bomb shelters. Those inside are trying to stay positive under the circumstances.
Biblical in proportions, what's happening right now, and doing the little bit that we can, just staying calm, staying joyful.
Ted Linder, Fox News.
Protests over the strikes on Iran continue here in Chicago. About 100 anti-war protesters gathered yesterday at Michigan Avenue in Ida B. Wells. They called the president's order reckless and say that they're the voices of the majority of Americans who oppose war as well as the U.S. involvement in the Middle East. Dozens of Chicago police were there on bikes to keep the public safe. The group says that they will mobilize again this Friday. The search for a man who was last seen at O'Hare Airport continues this morning, and now we're hearing from his family. 23-year-old Elijah Joseph Horde was last seen at O'Hare on Friday. His family says that he was visiting in Chicago and was heading back home to France, but never checked his bag or boarded his flight. He went through security and was waiting at his departure gate. The last video of him shows him leaving Terminal 5 and heading toward another terminal. Elijah's family says that he suffers from schizophrenia and cannot be without his medication.
If he doesn't take his medication, I fear that he might get too low in terms of like his mood, and that might be a scary place for him to be, especially being alone and not necessarily knowing anyone in Chicago to contact when that occurs. So that's my only concern is like I really hope his mind is right and he's not just completely losing it.
If you have any information, you're urged to please call Chicago Police. Attorneys for Chicago woman who killed her boyfriend will look to have her case dropped. Keisha Golden will be in court today. Back in 2022, she was pregnant at the time and stabbed her boyfriend, Calvin Sidney, during violence. He died from his injuries, and her lawyer says she acted in self-defense. The man accused of murdering a pregnant woman in Downers Grove will be in court today for his arraignment. Nate Roots is accused of stabbing a 4-year-old last night and set her on fire. Called in from the set in the marketplace. He's been murdered on Thursday.
this afternoon, especially south of the city, we have the chance for some scattered rain showers. So first, let's take a closer look at where the precipitation is falling right now. Downtown, the pavement is wet because you saw that little bit of rain that moved on through, but the rain is actually starting to dwindle in Chicagoland. You can see a touch of green over Glenview and Deerfield. Also in McHenry County, we have a little bit of precipitation in that pink shade to green shade near Harvard along the Wisconsin border. Temperatures are hovering around freezing there, so you might have that mixed precipitation in McHenry County. Northwest Indiana, we had some light pink over northern Porter County, also LaPorte County, but now nice and dry. Let's take a look at the temperature. You're stepping out the door to 34 degrees at the lakefront and O'Hare, 33 in Waukegan, and freezing from Woodstock to 36 in Kankakee. Northwest Indiana ranging 31 in Valpo, but the upper 30s currently in Gary. Highs this afternoon in the low to mid 40s. I expect to be right around 43 degrees with mostly cloudy skies, and as mentioned, that chance for showers, especially south. Tonight dropping down to 33 with mostly cloudy conditions, and tomorrow 45 is our high, partly sunny with the chance for rain in the afternoon. Temperatures are warming up nicely for the end of the week. This weekend, highs in the 60s. Can't wait to show you that 7-day forecast. It is 5:38. Stay with us.
On Fox.
The U.S. and Israel are now on day 4 of Operation Epic Fury. And this morning, Iran is firing back, targeting American embassies in the region. Rebecca Castor joins us from Washington this morning with the latest developments. Rebecca, Iran fired back overnight, hitting the U.S. embassy in Saudi Arabia's capital. What is the State Department doing this morning to keep Americans in the Middle East safe?
Well, the State Department is telling Americans in 14 Middle Eastern countries that they need to leave now. But with many airports in the region closed, Americans are left with limited options. The State Department did set up a 24/7 task force to make sure Americans overseas are getting around-the-clock updates. We know thousands of people are getting these updates through WhatsApp, but they haven't yet moved on organizing civilian evacuations. And now, this doesn't mean the State Department will not do that. We did see them organize civilian evacs during the 12-day war between Iran and Israel over the summer. But these are highly sensitive operations that takes delicate planning. So no word yet from the State Department that that is going to be organized. But we do know that nonprofit, non-government organizations are working with Americans in overseas, and they are actively evacuating Americans in the Middle East as we speak right now.
And Rebecca, all members of Congress will be briefed today, and we do know that some of the party leaders received a brief yesterday. What are they saying about this ongoing operation so far?
Yes. Naturally, Republicans and Democrats that were briefed yesterday left those briefings with very different reactions. GOP party leaders like House Speaker Mike Johnson were convinced that the president had no choice. A lot of this is based on new details that Secretary of State Marco Rubio shared with reporters here on the Hill yesterday. He told us that Israel was going to attack Iran with or without the U.S. And there was a concern that naturally, of course, Iran was going to retaliate if Israel attacked, and that U.S. bases overseas could be put at risk. So Marco Rubio says that President Trump made the decision to join the attack to limit U.S. casualties. Democrats in that briefing were not convinced. They did not buy that. We heard Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer leave the briefing saying he has more questions now than he had when he walked into the briefing. And the ranking member on intelligence, Mark Warner, said that this was a threat against Israel, and President Trump acted on that threat against Israel, not the U.S. So that is just the beginning of the debate here that we're hearing on Capitol Hill.
Now, we're now into day number 4 of this conflict. I think the question that a lot of Americans are wondering right now is, do you have any idea exactly how long this conflict in Iran is going to
Rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah, well,
I would like to take a break at this moment.
Yeah,
I'd like to have a conversation
for now.
The Clintons have not been accused of any wrongdoing. Time is now 5:46. Checking back in with Caitlin. We had some showers this morning. Strong showers or just kind of a light precipitation out?
Light precipitation, scattered, possible, though, throughout the morning. And then this afternoon, the best chance for rain is going to be south of I-80. So behind me, you can see satellite radar where the clouds are in place for us in Chicagoland and that little stripe of green and pink. Let's take a closer look at our radar where we do have that potential, especially in McHenry County, where you could see some light mixed precipitation, actually. Temperatures are going to be hovering in the 30s, though, this morning. You can see behind me over the next 48 hours, we are going to be climbing to the low 40s. And then as we head on into tonight, temperatures dropping down into the 30s. So we're not budging too much, 30s and 40s. As we head into tomorrow, even highs are going to be back to the 40s. We have the chance for rain tomorrow afternoon. And then on Thursday and Friday, the chance for rain is back. But the temperatures are going to be warming up nicely. Here's your 5-day forecast. Around 46 degrees Thursday, Friday 64, and then 62. Normal night today is 41. Brian.
All right, time is now 5:47 this morning. Stick around. We got more news, weather, and traffic on the way.
Raja.
Now on Good Day Chicago, airstrikes in the Middle East enter day number 4. Iran struck the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia's capital, causing some minor damage. Americans have been urged to avoid the compound. President Trump now says that the campaign could last more than a month. U.S. military confirms 6 service members have died. State media in Iran says the death toll is nearly 800 amid U.S. and Israeli strikes. Attorneys for Keisha Golden look to have her case dropped Back in 2022, Golden, who was pregnant at the time, stabbed her then-boyfriend Calvin Sidney during an argument that turned violent. Her lawyers say that she acted in self-defense. A ground will be held today for the new Chicago Fire Stadium. The $750 million stadium is privately funded. It will be located in Chicago's newest neighborhood known as the 78. The goal is to have the stadium open in 2028. The future of delivery is taking flight. Some South suburban residents could soon get their Amazon packages through a new drone service. Our Casey Cronus explains how it works.
Amazon is gearing up to launch the service out of Matson and Markham in a matter of months. We got to see what could soon be flying over your neighborhood. From the warehouse to your door without hitting the road, Amazon is bringing on-demand delivery to the skies.
We are able to operate in cold temperatures, in light precipitation, so even light rain. Our wind limits are pretty robust.
The Prime aircraft weighs in at about 80 pounds. Community members got a first look today at the Tinley Park Convention Center where it was on display.
We have all the trucks coming in the neighborhood now every day, so this will be a little different, and it is pretty big, so it'll take a while to get used to it.
I think it's the wave of the future, and it's only going to get bigger and better. I like it. I think it's a good idea.
When the service goes live, residents who live within an 8-mile radius of the Markham and Matson Amazon distribution centers will be able to select the drone delivery option. There will be an extra fee of $4.99 for Prime members, and items will be delivered within 2 hours.
If you select it, then you will get an aerial image of your house, like a Google Earth look of your property. It'll have predetermined delivery points, and you can select which one. A lot of people prefer the backyard because it is safer, a lot more private, so people prefer that. Check out like normal Amazon order, and within 2 hours, you'll see this coming over your yard and dropping off your package for you.
The drone itself won't land, but will hover close to the ground and release your package. They'll only operate during daylight hours. The drones are fully autonomous, but will be monitored by an Amazon Prime Air team. There's no set launch date just yet. Expect the service to take flight in summer. Amazon says cameras on the drones will be used solely for navigation and not the drones with obstacles. There will be both drones and shares.
Are going to be warming up, though. By Thursday, a high of about 46, then back to the mid-60s Friday, the low 60s this weekend into early next week. It is 5:55. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. We'll be right back.
Jackson, tonight on Fox.
Welcome back. Here's the latest on Good Day Chicago just before 6 a.m. The state of Minnesota is launching an investigation into the response of federal officers during their crackdown on illegal immigration. State says it is already looking at 17 cases of possible misconduct, including an incident where Border Patrol Chief